Our top story tonight, members of the National Assembly this evening began debate on the referendum bill sponsored by the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee. The bill that was tabled by Committee Chair Muturi Kigano has been prioritized by the House Business Committee after members approved a calendar to hold evening sittings every Tuesdays and Thursdays that end at 9 p.m. There is another draft bill on the referendum sponsored by the Constitutional Implementation Oversight chaired by committee that is chaired by Kioni, which has not been slotted for debate. And I want us to cross over live to the National Assembly, where the Speaker, Justin Muturi, is currently speaking, to just get a whiff of what's happening there. It would appear they have just closed parliamentary business. Closing parliamentary business there. The Speaker just concluding, as I mentioned there, they agreed to extend those proceedings to 9 p.m. every Tuesday and Thursday, today being a Thursday. Of course, it's just 9 p.m. now. So exiting from chambers with members. And KTN News senior political reporter Patrick Amimo has been following proceedings for us. Patrick, what is in this bill? What can you tell us?
Thank you so much. As members of the National Assembly put their works up to speed to at least have the referendum, a standalone referendum law. That's why we are seeing this particular proposal act that is before the House, where members for the last 2 hours have been debating this particular referendum bill that has been proposed by the sponsored by the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee. And this particular bill is not it seeks to consolidate all those that operate under the Election Act, touching on matter referenda, and improve on it, because Kenya, we first had a first referendum in 2005. We've also had a referendum in 2010 when we passed the current constitution. So this is an effort to have at least a separate, a standalone referendum law that will guide future processes in future. And this particular law is that we've seen, apart from just following the procedure as it is, as has been in the past, where if you want to go through the popular initiative, you have to collect 1 million signatures, which have, after they are then taken to the IBC for verification. Once IBC confirms that these particular signatures are 1 million and they meet the threshold, then it transmits the particular draft bill or whatever, that draft bill to the county assemblies. Members of the county assemblies then have 90 days on receipt from IBC after that communication to consider those proposals or the draft matter that seeks public initiative, then submit their report or findings to both speakers of the National Assembly and the Senate, which also will give room for members of the National Assembly and the Senate 90 days, where we'll see after they get that, then the bill is published for public participation. And after that also, once both parliaments approve the bill, then it's sent to the president. The president, once the president has received that particular draft bill, he then again transmits it to the IBC with a proposal to carry out a national referendum. Then IBC has 90 days within which it has to set the dates for the referendum. So it is just a way to have at least the tools sanitize and ensure that the country has a referendum law that it can fall back to. And with the Justice and Legal Affairs law that has been proposed, this particular referendum, it will also give opportunity for counties to also conduct referendum at the local level. Counties can also, a person at the county level can decide to carry out their own referendum based on this particular referendum law that will now be put in place. With regard to the Jeremiah Kioni draft bill also on the referendum, I think, having listened to members of Parliament in the National Assembly debate it, I think at the committee stage there are those who have proposed that Jeremiah Kioni and his team should bring some of their proposals that were rich enough to include, to enrich the thought in this particular Justice and Legal Affairs referendum draft bill, so that maybe we have a merged referendum law as moving forward, because time is not on our side. And we've also had members also say that this particular referendum law or bill should not be based on the BBI, because it's something for posterity which will guide future decisions moving forward. And even as members continue to debate this particular draft, this particular referendum bill, because it was only the leadership that pushed it, and members will have a chance Tuesday next week when the House resumes again to debate this particular law. But earlier on, this was a full day for the National Assembly, and earlier in the day, apart from that shooting down of that particular motion bill that had been proposed by a Ruiru Member of Parliament, Simon Kingara, to have those holding demonstrations held responsible, it was shot down. Members of in the afternoon during the constitution of that Budget and Appropriations Committee, we saw the minority whip, that's Junet Mohammed, differ with his minority leader John Mbadi on the constitution of the Budget and Appropriations Committee in the National Assembly. Let's listen in on how that differences occurred.
We know each other, Mr. Speaker. The kind of revenues that go to their constituencies, the members of this committee, Mr. Speaker. Let's call a spade a spade. Chairman, you are just a burial committee chair of the other day. Keep quiet. This committee has been in existence for the last 8 years. We cannot have members who have served for 3 good years. Some of them have benefited from projects through that committee, Mr. Speaker, of enormous amount, Mr. Speaker.
It's very untidy for me to respond to my whip. My whip was engaged elsewhere. And I actually shared with him after, in the spirit of disclosure. In the Committee of Transport, I know that out of the fuel levy fund, there's some allocation that goes to those members of those committees. And there's nothing really wrong.
There are members of committees, neighbors. We are neighbors in constituency. Development projects are being done. And we are being questioned that so-and-so is doing A, B, C, D, and you are not working for it. And they are taking pride out of this.
If perchance people are benefiting for their constituencies, not for their persons, not individually, then let us reconstitute all the committees so that those who have been benefiting in health can leave those who have not been benefiting to benefit, those who have been benefiting in transport to go and serve in the committee that has been constituted, the one for catering.
Coming from the whip, that is the one that is complaining. And we received the names. And I remember that we had the people even calling the whips, so that some names that were missing, Honorable Speaker, had to be consulted from the whips, especially Honorable Junet, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, let us not bring personal differences.
And let's stay with matters of BBI. From the earlier report, of course, on that referendum drive-in bill.